once again, politics has to get in the middle of something. So a couple days ago, I get a text from one of my friends from high school, and she's like, hey, random question. And I said, okay. She goes, genuinely, who did you vote for? And I'm assuming she only asked that, like, out of nowhere, because she saw my video talking about all the protests. So I'm
Not a random question, just a confirmation.
like, okay, well, she's probably not gonna like my answer, but I'm gonna be honest with her. So I said, Trump? Question mark. I thought you had always known that. You know, I don't love him, but I've always been Republican. So I turned my phone off, and then a couple minutes later, it lit up with her chat. So I opened my phone, went to Snapchat. I went to where my chats are, and I didn't see her name.
And she was probably talking about you too.
So I was like, my first thought was, did she unadd me? So I turned my phone off, or I didn't turn my phone off. I slid down to go back to my lock screen, and I saw her chat was still there. So I tapped on her chat. Lo and behold, next to her name said the word add. So I texted her back, and I'm like, did you really just unadd me because I'm Republican? Okay, again, I'm not trying to start a debate. I know politics is a very sensitive subject. I know everybody is entitled to their own peace, their own words, their own, freedom of speech, whatever. But if politics has to interfere or come in between a friendship, it wasn't a real friendship in the first place. And the funny thing is, I had never talked about politics with her, ever, because I know which side she is. Not that I care, like, I would respect her either way. But because I'm Republican, apparently we can't be friends anymore, which is fine. I'm not mad. It just shows that, oh, all right, well, I guess our friendship just wasn't real in the first place. If politics ever has to come between you and a family member or a friendship, just know they don't respect you.
Yeah, I don't trip about it. I'm one of the rare few Republicans in my family, and I have a pretty large family and a pretty large network. But guess what? Thanksgiving is popping, and birthdays is hitting, and events is really having a good time. We don't even really talk about politics at all when I'm hanging around my family. All of them are super liberal, even though their lifestyle is conservative, even though they conservative with their money. They've always voted liberal, and we have a difference of opinion on a lot of different things. But that doesn't, like, it doesn't affect me going to the graduation. It doesn't affect them coming over my house. It doesn't affect the way that we party. Like, we just chilling. And I think that conservatives are a lot more tolerant, and they're a lot more mature just about politics in general, about life. Part of that could be because we winners. Even when Kamala Harris and Joe Biden is in office, we understand the game. We know how the culture is supposed to be, so we can be passionate about whatever it is that we passionate about. And it's kind of just like a separation, right? Who I am, um, to be honest with you, even as a content creator, who I am online as far as what I'm passionate about and the things that I got going on in my life, and even when I'm by myself, that's like me. That's the real me. That's the full me. That's you gonna get it. It is what it is. And when I'm around my family, I'm me, but I'm a different version of me because I'm not talking about politics. I don't talk about relationships around my family, but if the conversation then goes that way, I think that most of us, all of us, are respectful enough to be able to go our own separate way or to say whatever it is that we believe in, and then we get right back to partying right after that. And so when I see these videos and I see them, I see a bunch of nonsense and foolishness all the time on these apps of people saying that they're unfriending somebody. That's why I don't follow nobody on social media anyway. I wouldn't know if you unfriended me or not. Doesn't even matter. I see people saying stuff like, I'm divesting from my parents and I'm cutting them off. Wait a minute. You talking about the person that poured into you since you was a baby, the person that did right by you, the person that put you in private school, the person that fed you. And it doesn't mean that they owe you anything or you don't owe them anything, but you're telling me that you're cutting them off based off of what's happening politically. Y'all got differing beliefs, which could change over time. You could change because it's not even about changing other people. You could change. Y'all could evolve. You're telling me you're cutting them off over politicians, most of which, and here's the caveat, the big kicker about this whole thing. Politicians ain't even really beefing with each other in real life. Politicians aren't really beefing with each other in real life. They really rock with each other. They really work with each other. They forgive each other. Man, look, the vice president of the United States of America, J.D. Vance, came into the game criticizing Trump when he first got into office, when Trump was in office in 2016, 17, 18, 19. So he then became the vice president of the United States of America. So if they able to look at things holistically and say, you know what, wait a minute. How does this benefit me? How does this serve me? Then you're telling us that you can't, because listen, I'm not tripping because I believe that everything is a season. And what does that mean by everything is a season? Everything is a season means that whatever it is that you interacting with and dealing with today doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to serve you in the future. Friends that you were in high school with don't mean that y'all going to stay friends forever. Friends that you were in college with don't mean that y'all going to stay friends forever. But it could be like the splits are usually amicable. It's not even an announcement. It's like, yo, she went off and got married. We just kind of lost touch. They moved to California for their career, or we, kind of just faded out. Most splits that are amicable are not something that you have to announce. It's not something that you want to push to the person. So when she described and she said, "Yo, this person made sure that I got asked me this," she knew what was up, but she emotional, she crashed out, and so that's what it is. Her making this video right now, this person right here making this video right now, is making this video hoping that the other person sees it, which means that she truly probably still has a soft part in her heart for her. But I just let people do what they do. If you crash out, you crash out. If you don't, you don't. I don't think it's a big deal either way. Life goes on. There's 9 billion people on this earth. And I don't think that friendship should be based off of longevity. I don't think it should be based off of how long y'all been friends. Relationships themselves, right? Friendships are relationships. I don't think that it should be based off of that. I believe that it should be based off of whether or not it makes sense for us to be in this space right now together. And if you keep it a little bit more G, if you stop focusing so much on how other people feel about you, and this is just advice to people in general, you won't take it personal if somebody unfriends me or somebody announces it or something like that. I'll be like, oh, okay. I found out about several people that don't necessarily care for me, but they still watch me. That I went to school with, and it's like, okay. And then they came back around. One of them came back around, and it's like, I didn't lose no sleep. I'm not tripping about it. So y'all got to stop taking it so personal because you can't control other people. Life is temperate. My father always said life is 10% of what happens to you, 90% of how you react to it. I control me. And that is my number one goal today is to make sure that I control the controllables, peace, make a lot of money and enjoy life and have a good time. Because it's those times and you don't know how long somebody is going to be here and all of this stuff. I don't have the energy, the mental capacity to be focused on getting emotional about stuff that I can't control. So I do think that it's immature. And I also believe, and this is the caveat on top of it, I believe that Republicans tend to be a lot more tolerant. Democrats tend to be a lot more vigilant. Republicans are more tolerant, meaning that we don't necessarily care how you live your life. We just don't want it necessarily pushed on us. And we open to hearing other people's views, and we may even debate them. But if you talk to any kind of liberal, if you go into their spaces, if you go to their protests, they are less than tolerant, less than respectful, and they always talking about diversity, equity, and inclusion. Ain't that ironic? Let me know what y'all think inside of the chat. Make sure y'all tap into the Patreon. Link is in the description. Teach Henley, 40% off your first order, 20% off for life. I love you. I appreciate you. And I always like to give credit to the content creator. That link will be in the description also.